The Intercept was a Russian game show broadcast between 1997 and 98. On The Intercept, a thief would steal a car and then race through the streets of Moscow away from police. Yes, this is a real game show. The thief is actually a contestant on the show who has been given keys to the car. The police, however, are real Russian traffic police, also known as a GAI. The show has two main aims. First is to improve the image of the GAI, who were apparently drunken, corrupt pigs in the eyes of Russians at the time. The second aim was to try to reduce the car theft that took place in Moscow at the time, which was very high. So, their two aims were to make them likeable and also to scare off potential criminals. I would be wondering whether it would be possible to do both of these things at the same time. Let's find out, shall we?
If you want to see more of these game show videos, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any. Thank you. The show begins with the contestants setting off with a 5 minutes head start. They then have 30 minutes to evade the police. If they are successful, they win the car. If they aren't, then, well, you'll see.
The show itself tries to help the contestants by creating distractions to slow the police down. They use commonplace distractions, things you would see every day in Russia.
Such as a busload of blind people who drive around Moscow and make them walk across roads. Was this the best idea they had?
The contestants' cars are fitted with an antenna which tells the police their approximate location.
A police commander who looks a little bit like a scary looking Russian Matt Lucas stoops over a map in a darkened room to try predict the contestants' moves.
David Gamber was one of the show's producers and is said to have lived in Hollywood for some time. The influence of this seems clear towards the end of the show, when some contestants are given the chance to escape in big Hollywood-esque ways.
Some of these are brilliant. For example, one car drives onto a train which sets off. A police officer jumps onto the moving train to apprehend the contestant. Once, the thieves drive onto a boat and escape. Another tries to get onto a boat but is too slow and the police run onto it and arrest them. Someone steals a jet ski and then parks up very close to the police and gets arrested. You're on a jet ski and they're not. Why would you park there? Why not just drive 50 metres down the shore and get off there and run off?
The ambition and imagination of some of these has to be respected. Some serious planning and money has gone into some of these, and for only sometimes less than a minute of screen time. This isn't a game show that is afraid to take risks. For me, the real unsung heroes of the show are the cameramen. Every so often you'll see a clip of some action, and if you look closely you'll see a cameraman in a lot of danger.
Look how close he gets to him here.
The show has a lot of moments when I tense up, bracing for an accident to happen. In fact, sometimes there are accidents.
One contestant, trying to evade police, crashes into a pole.
Thankfully, the police are medically trained. They realise the man has a neck injury, so they leave him in his car and wait for the ambulance to arrive on scene. The medics then attend to the man and check he's okay.
Only joking, about 5 of them rip him out the car and throw him to the floor. If he didn't have a neck injury before, he definitely does now. Look at the audience too, they look like he's just died. Is this what the producers want their audiences to look like? Is that the goal? I mean, it's not exactly The Price is Right, is it? It's not just the losers that get pulled from the cars either. Some of the winners do as well. Look at that, the face of a winner.
This is the only Russian game show that I've ever watched. The police only get involved on The Intercept, right? I can't see this catching on to any of the shows overseas somehow. Can you imagine watching Countdown?
Unfortunately, Margaret, you have lost Countdown today. The host of the show is Nikolai Fomenko, singer and guitarist in the band Secret, who were big in Russia in the 80s. He wears a leather jacket and has a Britney Spears microphone. He seems like a good bloke and is a good host, although I don't speak any Russian, so I'm not actually sure if he is or not. But he's very animated and has a good energy about him.
The Intercept has the biggest change of theme I've ever seen on a game show partway through a series. This is amazing. I have to be missing something through not knowing the language here. If anybody knows, please do let me know what's going on.
The first episodes are dark and grungy. They take place in a sort of Soviet warehouse. The host is wearing black leather. Nikolai is moody and serious. Then one episode I watch, he turns into Willy Wonka. The set is bright and modern, he's dancing around. What the hell is going on? Why is it suddenly changed? It's not even a one-off episode either. Look at the difference. This is the same show. I love it.
Now, do you remember earlier how the two aims of the show were to improve the image of the GAI and to deter criminals?
In one episode, one of the GAI points a gun directly down the lens of the camera at us, the viewer.
Now, I'm no public relations expert, so I might have got this wrong, but I wouldn't have thought pointing a gun down the lens of a camera would improve public opinion. Maybe this bit is to deter criminals, but then he only does it for 2 seconds and then laughs, so it's not exactly menacing. Has anybody in history ever said, well, I wasn't sure about these guys, but now they pointed a gun at me, I think they're alright. The show is incredibly ambitious with the tasks that they give contestants.
At one point, the contestants have a car on board a train that they need to get off. They try to get the barriers on the moving train down by kicking them, of course. Then, the episode suddenly turns into a DIY show. They get a hammer and nails and start building something at around 16 minutes 40 seconds. What do you think they're making? What's the safest thing you can think of? If you guessed a ramp to connect one moving train to another, which they are going to drive the car across, you are correct. Also, if you believe the timestamps, they've built that ramp in 5 minutes. It looks very neat to say it's been made in 5 minutes on a moving train, but let's move on from that. After a quick test of the sturdiness in the safest way possible, they get the car across. Have you ever seen another game show like this?
If you remember, the second aim was to try and deter criminals from stealing cars in Moscow. In a news article printed at the time, a GAI information officer said to the media, "We want the public to root for law and order, not the thieves." The show, however, makes one huge mistake with this. They make it look amazing. The show makes me want to steal a car and escape from the police. Not once in my life has that thought ever come into my head before watching this show.
The show has them flying down streets, screeching round corners, it has us on the edge of our seats. For 35 minutes, the thief is a star of the show. Nobody wants the police to win. When a contestant loses, the studio audience is devastated. When one contestant wins, their teammates pick them up and throw them into the air. Who wouldn't want to do that? I want to get picked up and thrown into the air. On one episode, a contestant is racing through some back streets of Moscow and they narrowly miss a dog with a car. Ooh, close call. Then a few seconds later, the police speed down the road and actually hit the dog.
That poor dog. What I don't understand is why that clip ever had to make it to broadcast. Nobody ever had to see that clip. The show isn't live. An editor has gone through and said, yeah, let's add in that bit where we hit the dog. Then later, someone else has watched the final cut of the show and said, yep, all looks good to me. Oh, by the way, love the bit with the dog. If there is one rule for improving public opinion, whoever they are, wherever they are, it is this. Finally, I just want to add, I'm not disrespecting the GAI in any way. The use of guns has probably been a production decision where they've been told to ham it up a bit, make it a bit more exciting, and it's also probably a cultural thing. When thinking about rating the Intercept, I didn't find it a tricky one to place at all. It is impressive when a game show can transcend a language barrier, and the Intercept does just this. To make this video, I watched 7 hours of the Intercept, none of them with English subtitles, and I don't understand any Russian, and I loved every minute of it. Apart from the minute where they hit the dog. This is a long time to watch something, not understand any of it and still enjoy it. The show is incredibly ambitious with the sheer scale of what it tries to pull off, and it does it really well. It's a very impressive show and also an incredibly entertaining one too. The whole thing is like the car chase scene in a Hollywood blockbuster. It is a good game show and well worth a watch.